Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning, episode 433, back on the topic of the NFL today. Today, Jay and I are going to be looking at what the Chargers can do, or really why they can have a top 5 offense in 2021. We just talked about why they can have a top 5 defense, but today we're talking offense with the Chargers. But first, before we get into the video, question of the day, and that is LaDainian Tomlinson, obviously former Charger great, set the single-season NFL record for touchdowns for a non-quarterback. Again, how many touchdowns was that? If you know the answer, comment below. And if you don't, stick around to the end of the video. We'll discuss it then. But, Jay, obviously, if I'm going to have to choose what the odds are for them to have a top 5 defense, top 5 offense, odds are they're going to do it on the offensive side of the football. So tell me how they can.
Yeah, 100%. A big reason we thought they could become a top 5 defense is because they already had a good foundation in Joey Bosa and Derwin James. They just need a couple more pieces. And the same exact thing goes for them on the offense. They have a great foundation. They got their franchise quarterback. They have solid wideouts, and they have a good running back with a brand new head coach. And they just need to fix one or two pieces. Like I said, they got Justin Herbert, they got Austin Eckler, and outside of him, they have great depth with Joshua Kelly, Justin Jackson, Kalen Ballage. I'm not sure I'm saying that correctly, but pretty close either way. And then in the wideouts, of course, we know there's Keenan Allen, there's Mike Williams, there's Jalen Guyton, there's Tyron Johnson, and there was Hunter Henry. I do think the Chargers will more than likely re-sign him, but as of right now, he is not on that team, so that will definitely be a factor of whether or not they will be a top 5 offense, because a lot of young quarterbacks, just like Justin Herbert, love treating their tight ends as a safety blanket and a great red zone target, and that's exactly what Hunter Henry is for Justin Herbert, so they would hurt the offense if they lose him. However, it does not mean they cannot replace him if they do. But the biggest thing needs to be fixed is, of course, everyone knows that the offensive line is not great in general, and the two kind of pieces you did have on that offensive line that you liked was Trey Turner and the Pouncey brother. However, Trey Turner was released, and the Pouncey brother retired, so you no longer have, I guess, your two best pieces. Trey Turner was already hurt. Pouncey wasn't the same, but either way, the two guys you did kind of look up to on your offensive line is no longer there as well. So overall, offensive line, it's completely shredded, but it's nothing one offseason can't fix with a brand new coaching staff, with a solid amount of draft capital. You don't have anything crazy, but you're not missing out on anything, and you have relative cap space to make things work. Overall, I definitely think if you fix the offensive line, Justin Herbert will be able to do the rest and take this team there.
Yeah, again, you've just talked about O-line. The biggest thing for me of what the Chargers have the opportunity to do is address their biggest issue in O-line. They were dead last ranked. I'm sure you Chargers fans are aware of that. Dead last ranked in offensive line last season. So, again, looking at the draft with the 13th pick, I would say Sewell and Slater are probably going to be off the table at that point. But of course, if they're available, that's what I would bet the Chargers will take. But even if not, you draft Aerosol, you draft Vera Tucker, 2 good O linemen, and then free agency, like you said, New England released Joe Thuney, Eric Fisher, and Mike Schwartz from the Chiefs been released, and there's plenty more available on the market. So I do believe that they will be able to address that issue. And then on the rest of the field, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen at wideouts, I like them both a lot. Obviously, Keenan Allen is, I guess, the number one guy, but I do like Mike Williams a lot. He's 6'4", 228 or something. He's got a good frame. One guy I'm not too sold on the Chargers offense is Austin Eckler. As far as running the football, he's really not the dominant running back or just as dominant as other running backs in the league, but he does catch passes well out of the backfield and do that efficiently, so he's definitely solid. So the receivers, I think, are good. Running back, good out of the backfield, and Eckler. O-line, I think, should be fixed. So really the biggest question is, if all these pieces fit together, the question is what do they do about Hunter Henry? How do they get him back, or how do they replace him with someone that can do the same job? And then the one solid part of this offense that I have really no question is, can they perform to a top 5 level, is, of course, Justin Herbert. He really showed it last year that he could. So, I mean, you got a lot of questions. Will Staley work well with the offense? Will they be able to replace Hunter Henry? Will they be able to fix the O-line? Those are all questions we'll have to wait and see. But the one thing I know is that Justin Herbert will be top 5 caliber.
Yeah, I made the reference before. To me, the current offense of the Los Angeles Chargers really kind of shadowed the New Orleans Saints in the past 2-3 years. I wouldn't say this past year because Drew Brees got really old and Michael Thomas wasn't here this past season. But Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara had an amazing chemistry out of the backfield, passing them, quick dump-offs, and that's what Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler have. And they really didn't even play a whole season together. Austin Eckler was banged up. And then, of course, in the Drew Brees offense, you have an amazing wideout in Michael Thomas, and so does Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen. They won't exactly copy it, but to me, that is just what it shows right there, in my opinion. But also, no matter if they go with that style or not, a big question mark is, of course, Brandon Staley. Me and you are fans of him, and we want the best for him, and we do think he will click. However, that does not mean he will. So that will be a big question. No matter how many things they fix on this entire roster, and no matter how much talent is on the field, if you don't have the right coach to guide this talent, you can only get so far. We saw Anthony Lynn had a great, healthy team with Phillip Rivers and a healthy Derwin James and a Joey Bosa, which isn't rare for this, or which is rare for this Chargers team, and Anthony Lynn couldn't do anything with it. So we have to hope Brandon Staley can get over the hump and the Chargers finally getting a great coach and a great team and great health all in one's health is a big factor for this Chargers team.
Yeah, Staley's obviously got the great defensive background, but so I've heard part of his interview process was him. Part of him getting the job was him laying out this offensive plan that Chargers front office liked, and they hired him. So I guess we do have a reason to believe that he should be able to click with this Chargers offense, but obviously that's a big what if. If as obviously a bad coach, we know what happens to the Chargers, even with a quarterback as good as Justin Herbert. So again, my main issue is what do they do about Hunter Henry, because he was obviously a big safety blanket for Herbert in the red zone and just in general.
Yeah, in my opinion, Hunter Henry, there's no way the Chargers don't have a plan for him. I do think they'll replace or sign him long term, but even if they do not, I feel like they have a plan to replace him, whether it be Jonnu Smith from the Titans, Robert Tonyan from the Packers, another big red zone guy that Justin Herbert can rely on. Maybe they can address free agent or offensive line and free agency completely, get Joe Thuney, get Eric Fisher, and the offensive line is settled and done. And then in the draft, trade up and get a Kyle Pitts, one of the top prospects coming out of this NFL draft, and he'd be great for Justin Herbert in replacing Hunter Henry. That's a lot to ask for, but it's definitely a possibility that the Chargers can 100% look into. In my opinion, though, I see Hunter Henry staying with the Chargers and signing a long-term deal.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Obviously, there's other guys you can replace him with, but he clicks with the team. So, of all situations, I guess maybe I'd rather see Pitts go there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
but I guess I'd rather see most likely, or what I'd most rather see is Henry make a return. And if you look at what we've been talking about, can the Chargers have a top 5 defense? We pretty much said yes, they can, and now we think they can have a top 5 offense. So basically, it looks like the Chargers are going to be pretty damn good this coming year.
I think top 10 in both categories. I want to kind of say at the worst, you just need a couple things to click. The foundation is there, like we said. You just need
the
one
potential
or two
for
things.
the offense is through the roof right now.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what do you do about Henry, what do you do about the O-line and Staley.
Yeah, two big problems. If they fix them both, which they definitely can, I think they could definitely make the jump on both sides of the football.
Absolutely. Guys, that's all for the video. Comment below whether or not you think the Chargers can have a top 5 offense, and if you do, tell me why they can. But that's all for the video, and as far as your question of the day, again, LaDainian Tomlinson had the single-season record for non-quarterback touchdowns with 31, 28 rushing, and 3 through the air. Guys, thanks for watching. 2-minute warning.